when did you realize like this blew up and like there was no going back?
I think it was the 20th anniversary. We did a fundraiser for toys down in some Newport Beach.
Okay.
And it was actually Bob Clark and Darren McGavin and Peter Billingsley and Artie Robb and Scotty Schwartz and Ian Petrella and myself. And we had all gone there, and it was some event by the mayor of Newport Beach. And I think it was Newport Beach, so I apologize if I'm wrong. But we were there, and it was really cool, but we didn't think much of it. And then I walked outside and took a look, and there was like 3 blocks of people lined up. And when I stuck my head out, this massive cheer went out, and I was shocked. I was like, what? So, you're never really quite prepared for that type of response from people. I'm not Brad Pitt or Tom Cruise. So I think that was the first time that we all kind of went, oh, this is a thing now. Okay.
Yeah, but you've been acting. I mean, you didn't miss a beat. You went from Christmas Story. I mean, you really made this huge career in some pretty major films. So you were recognizable,
Yeah, I'm always that guy with the face from The Thing that you saw this one time and usually want to punch me for. Because I played too many bad guys. But yeah, I just kept on working, which was I'm very grateful for.
Yeah, like steadily. So the bad guy thing, why do you think that? Do you go for the bad guy roles, or do the bad guy roles kind of find you, would you say?
I think that I have a very punchable face.
You don't have a punchable face.
I think actually it's probably Scut Farkus's fault because being the iconic red-haired bully, everybody kind of identifies that as an archetype.
Yeah, and I read that you were really the Grover Dill originally. Is that right? Like you were the sidekick. Is that
right? Yeah. So when I got the job, I had auditioned with this Grover Dill dialogue. Yeah, you kid. Nah, your Aunt Tilly, get over here. That was basically what I said. And then we went through wardrobe, and then we got our wardrobe on for the first time. I met Yano Anaya, who plays Grover Dill, for the first time. And then we were taken out to meet Bob Clark. And I had never met him because I auditioned on tape. And then we meet him, and they go, here's your Grover Dill, here's your Scut Farkus. And he sees that I'm like a foot taller than him. And he says, you get his lines, he gets yours. And then I became the lead bully.
Wow. That's crazy. That is crazy.
Yeah.
Do you remember, because you were 13, you were just a kid, but what do you remember about just being on the set? Like, did you guys like do a lot of screwing around? Did you play with the Bumpets dogs? Like, I can imagine there was some craziness going on that nobody knew about.
My mom was there. And my mom's an actress, Pam Hyatt. She's 86, and she's been an actress for 64 years. And I grew up on sets even before I started acting. So there was a certain level of behavior that was appropriate, and the other one would get you spanked with a wooden spoon. So I was not up to shenanigans. That was never an option in my mind. I had a great time. Yano and I hung out all the time. Bob Clark wanted us to spend our time together so we create a bond and sort of stay away from the other kids so that they wouldn't know us as well and be a little intimidated. And I think that worked out really well. I have a ton of memories from filming that movie. And obviously not only because I did it, but because I've talked about them for the last 40 years. But the biggest takeaway is I have friends. The cast members are like brothers to me. So we've known each other now for 40 years, and there's not a lot of people in your life you can say that about, and you don't want to kill. So, yeah.
True. And now you guys are reuniting. Like,
Yeah.
that is blowing my mind. Like, so Scott Farkus becomes a cop?
I don't know how much I know that some of it is leaked out there. I'm trying not to
Okay.
give any spoilers away. Yeah, it's great that they brought everybody back. It just, you know what Bob Clark did with the original casting is he hired goofy kids.
Mm-hmm.
We were all awkward. Like obviously Peter had the most chops of anybody. Peter and Scotty Schwartz had the most experience. But even, you know, you look at Peter's performance and there's a level of natural awkwardness to him
Mm-hmm.
that's really, really endearing. And we're all kind of odd ducks. And I think that's part of the reason why it works so well. It's like we weren't magazine models. We weren't really pretty. We were just goofy kids, real people. And I think that's what makes it so magical that we're all coming back for it because I'm still pretty goofy, and the rest of the guys are, you know, grown up goofiness. So it's exciting.
It really is because Christmas Story is magic. It is magical. I mean, the minute midnight hits, that thing is on my television until the next day. So I think that's most families. Is that like kind of a lot of pressure going into doing the new movie?
Yeah, yes and no, in the sense that I think a lot of the pressure was handled by the writer Nick Schenk because there were so many there's so many concepts pitched around prior to this film getting made. Like this is there's probably 5 or 7 other scripts and ideas that were pushed, and Peter passed on them, and I'd seen some of them, and I was not interested in doing them because it had to be right. Otherwise, it would be a disaster. And you know, my father had a saying in an egg and bacon breakfast, the chicken's involved, but the pig is committed. So, as an actor, as somebody who raises money for charity every year, utilizing Christmas Story as a lightning rod, I'm a pig. Like I'm committed to this. I'm going to have to put up with whatever conversations fans have. If they're upset, they're going to blame me, whether or not it's my fault. I know that I'm going to be the face that they come up to and like, you ruined it. And Peter knows that as well. So when the new script was made by Nick Schenk, it really took it to another level because you can't replicate A Christmas Story. It's an original. I mean, Gene Shepard had spent decades writing those stories, so he was steeped in the rich history of all those true characters, and trying to replicate that would do it a disservice. And that's the great thing about it is we're not trying to be those kids anymore. We are those characters 30 years later. And like everybody else grows up, those characters grow up as well. So I think that's what also makes it really smart because the movie and the characters grow with the audience. And I think they'll see themselves in that. But yeah, I think the most dangerous work was done by the writer and then by our director, Clay Cadis, and by Peter Billingsley, who produced as well as starred in it. It is a really fine razor's edge to walk. And I saw the film, and you know, I'm a filmmaker myself, so of course I'm going to go in there with the most attitude and like, well, what about this? And my wife and I were laughing out loud and crying and holding our chests and holding hands and feeling emotions. That's a very hard thing to do for a movie that you know the production of and you're in. So that's a big deal. I'm very happy with it. I'm very honored to be part of it. And I think that I hope people watch the original and then watch this one.
Yeah.
Because I think the connection between the two is as seamless as it can be. And it spans 30 years, so it's now more relevant to if you grew up with that movie, this is you, which is Crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. I read it's like set in the 70s too.
Yeah, because the first was 1940, right, 1943. So the second is 1973.
Yeah. Wow. So did you guys get into some crazy costumes and music and stuff as well with the era?
Some of it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fun growing out sideburns, you know?
That's awesome. That's great.
Scotty Schwartz's sideburns were such a thing of beauty. I thought I was watching what is that movie? The one, yeah, I don't even want to say, with Burt Reynolds.
Oh yeah, the porn one.
Boogie Nights. It
Yeah,
was like Boogie Nights. He totally had Boogie Nights sideburns. He was killing it. It was awesome. Yeah, Scotty Schwartz kills me in this thing. Kills me. Yeah, and R.D. Rob's hair. R.D. Rob plays Schwartz, and R.D. Rob's hair is so awesome, and it's all real. But it's just, I'm like, bro, you got a pompadour. You look great.
And that's one of the wonderful things of the Christmas Stories. You really felt the era, like when you watched it, which is all these little details. So that's why that's cool to see that sort of comes through in the new movie too, with the 70s. Yeah. Only a few of us lived through that, but but very cool, very cool. Well, speaking of being sort of on the dark side, you worked with Ryan Murphy. What was American Horror Story like working on that set?
Oh, that was so cool. That's just American Horror Story. It's just those actors are fantastic. The sets are amazing. The writers are great, and it is just a gorgeous machine of stylized horror. It's just awesome to be on board. And Sarah Paulson, all the awards she's received is because she deserves them. She's such a talented, kind woman. Yeah, it was a lot of fun to do. I only got to do, I think I did 2 episodes, 2 or 3. Yeah. And it wasn't a big role, and it's one of those roles that then like most of my roles in my career, I die. Yeah. My wife will ask me when I'm doing a film, she's like, so how do you die in this one? I'm like, oh, you'll be surprised. It's a new death for me, honey. Yeah, American Horror Story was a lot of fun.
Yeah. And then now you have something coming out, Patsy Lee and the Keepers of the Five Kingdoms with like icons. Tell me about, George Takei, geez. Tell me about this film. It's sort of like, it's a family film, is that right?
Oh yeah, it's a magical family adventure film. Think The Goonies meets Big Trouble in Little China meets Labyrinth meets Never-Ending Story.
Very cool. Very cool.
It stars James Hong, who's 93 years old. Just got a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. You may remember him as David Lo Pan from Big Trouble in Little China. Also, you might remember him from Blade Runner, when he's like, I made your eyes. And then, so it's in a small town of Globe, Arizona. A grandfather, James Hong, runs a curio shop, and he and his granddaughter, Patsy, get thrust into the middle of this adventure when she picks up this box left by 2 bumbling minions of an evil wizard. And then they fall through a portal into a magical world and have to find their way home and stop the evil wizard before she destroys the entire world. Ta-da! So there you go. Wow. And it's done in, it's a big bite. It's like Marvel, minus everything. But we did it practical effects. So I'm a huge fan of practical effects, and I've worked in the effects world for years. So a lot of animatronic headpieces. So that means they're robotic headpieces that can open the mouth and eyes look around, and big puppets, kind of like a Yoda style puppet from Empire Strikes Back. That's a tortoise. That's who George Takei plays. And then you've got all sorts of different characters and creatures and monsters. And so there's practical effects and Unreal Engine, so cutting in edge VFX. And yeah, it's really fun. It's really fun.
Yeah, and it's sort of like what we need right now, something fun, and it sounds like it's a positive movie, because
yeah, it's I'm very proud of it. I'm very proud of the acting in it. The performers do a wonderful job, and I was so honored by George Takei coming on board because he had read the script and he loved the message behind the script, and that's why he wanted to do it. Because he's George Takei, I definitely could not afford him, because he's George Takei, man.
Yeah.
He doesn't. It's not like he needs money. He does what he wants because he wants to, and that's fantastic. And he chose to do our film. And actually, him and James Hong have been friends for like 65 years, 70 years. Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah. That's awesome. And James Hong is basically my leading man, which you don't see very often. And he slays it. He's charming, he's grumpy, he's curmudgeonly, and then he's adventurous, and he's kicking booty, and he's being funny, and he's got swagger, and his heart is broken, and he comes back. I mean, he knocks it out of the park. He's a leading man, and it's awesome to see. It's really great.
Oh man! So when are we going to get to see this?
So we're finishing up post right now, which means we're going through the final colorization of the film, the color process or color grade, and then once that's done, then the film we'll be selling the film, talking to distributors. I think we're going to be doing a sneak premiere in January is the goal.
Okay.
So hopefully you'll see pictures and posters released. We got a beautiful poster done.
Oh, I bet. It sounds like this is just going to be massive eye candy the entire time.
It is, and we're very proud of it. And it's also, it's got so much heart. It's got so much heart, and it's one of those things. A lot of times on a movie, you got to talk about the movie a lot to get people to want to see it. And I kind of don't want to talk about the movie too much. I want to say what it is and go, you go see it. I don't want to ruin it for you. I want you to see it. I want to under-promise and over-deliver so that you see it and you'll be like, what is this thing you speak of? Mm-hmm. And then we can just take you on this ride and you walk away going, well, that was insane. That was ridiculous. How did that happen? And then, that's okay, you got to see this thing. It's nuts. I'm very excited.
Yeah, and this will be released in theaters?
I don't know. That's up to the distributor. My fingers are crossed, but regardless, I'm pretty sure it'll be getting a streaming release, and hopefully everybody will get a chance to see it. Yeah.
Well, I think theaters sounds like a great place to see a movie like this, but also at home. But in the meantime, A Christmas Story 2 comes out next month. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am. November 17th on HBO Max. And then December 17th, I will be in Cleveland, Ohio, at the Christmas Story House. I do a charity fundraiser for the Alzheimer's Association. My father has Alzheimer's, and so for the past couple of years, I've been working with the Alzheimer's Association to raise awareness and funding to find a solution. So if anybody's in the Cleveland area, anywhere in the surrounding places that wants to drive in and say howdy, please do. I shall be there giving away free autographs and whatever else I can, and hugs. So
leg lamps.
I will not be giving away free leg lamps. That is an expensive gift. I don't have that type of money. I'm not Bezos. But yeah. If you bring a leg lamp, I will take a picture with you and it and be like, yay, good for you. But so I will be there December 17th.